If you're selling athletic wear or uniforms and not offering reflective designs, you're missing out on a big sales opportunity. Whether you think it's too much of a hassle or too expensive for your clients, we're going to show you that those are just decoration mess. Welcome, everybody, to episode 3 of Decoration Myths. I am Stephen Bear from S&S Activewear, and we are once again with Josh Ellsworth in his studio from STAHLS. So today what we're going to talk about, and the myth we're going to bust, is how do you put a reflective logo on something that may have reflectivity already in the brand's logo, or how do you add to that to really bring reflectivity out there? So back in the day, reflective was too much noise. Now, so many people are outside and looking to be noticed. And, whether you're taking a walk in the morning or, at night, you want to be seen. And we're here to bust the myth that, yes, indeed, you can take apparel and accessories and put a reflective transfer on there. So Josh, I noticed you have a new machine. We've been working off the 360 IQ. Tell me about this beast.
Yeah. Thanks for having me back for episode 3. The show goes on, and we are switching machines. This is our Hotronix Auto Open Clam. So still a heat press. The difference is it's just a much bigger heat press. And so this is our 16 by 20 inch size. And it brings a lot of versatility, I'll say, to a decorator with how you can print more items. And so we're going to experience a taste of that today with putting reflective logos onto products, not only being able to accommodate assorted items, but really produce a quality result that's going to look great and that's going to last. So I'm excited to welcome the Hotronix Auto Clam to the show today.
I like it. Means business.
Yeah, it's ready. And I said I got the shorts on today because it gets a little hot here in the studio with this heat press heat up a little bit more than the 360.
Hey, you have to be comfortable. So
yeah, that's right. And so I know we're going to jump in here, so let me make sure we'll take a close-up look.
Oh, very nice.
Okay. The first product I think we're going to work with here today is this vest, right? You want to talk to us a little bit about what this is?
Yes, I'd love to talk about it. So this is from Kishigo. So they are well known for safety apparel and high reflectivity. This is a new line. They've really opened it up. It is their enhanced visibility line. And what's unique about this is it's 12 colors that are outside of the traditional safety green and safety orange. So you have colors like we see here, the pink, very popular. And, you have greens, browns, yellows. So what it's allowing a lot of people to do is organize their staff. Like you look at a grocery store, they can color code their staff for certain shifts, certain areas of the grocery store. And so it's been hugely popular, and it goes on. So many different people are using it, even campuses, to kind of segment people on certain sides of the campus. But this color option has been really popular. But again, the myth is, how do you decorate this, and how do you decorate it without damaging the reflectivity that's already built into the vest?
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point. So if we take a close-up look here, we have these reflective stripes that when you think about putting heat onto these stripes, you run a potential big risk of damaging those. And so one of the big advantages that I want to look at here is right at the heat press. So let me show you what this would look like first. If we were to just throw this vest onto the heat press, and being able to split the vest is critical. We'll talk about that here in a moment. But we have this on my full 16 by 20 platen. So you notice how all of the stripes are up on the printing surface. That, when the heat goes on, could create some discolorization of the stripes and be a quality issue. And so what I really like about this particular machine is we need a way to isolate or to raise this primary print area where we're going to put a reflective logo to match the striping that's already built into the vest. And so one way to do that is through interchangeable platens. And watch, it's quick. There's a little latch under here. You see that latch just unhooks. And then we lift this 16 by 20 attachment straight off. It has a pin registration system. And then we're going to grab a more appropriate size of attachment for being able to attach in between and fall in between those print locations. So in this case, one of my favorite attachments, I use it a ton for even hoodies and a lot of different applications, is this 11 by 15 inch. And so watch, it's really not that complicated when you have the right tools for the job. But now I split this over and you notice how those stripes fall perfectly outside of my print zone.
Nice.
So really nice, really easy to be able to execute that way. Now, let's talk just briefly about the decoration that we're going to use before we get into actual printing. And so I know you talked a little bit about food and grocery as a market vertical. It's actually one of the verticals we saw grow, at least, over the past 12 to 18 months. And I still think that food service delivery has a lot of legs as far as growth. And we've created this heat transfer. Speedy Food, right? Just a fake company here, but this is actually out of a 3M Scotchlite reflective material. And so when we talk about high visibility, the highest visibility that you can get in a heat transfer is the actual 3M Scotchlite reflective. Now, I know we're just doing this kind of for a little bit of function, but also for fashion with the different colorways. But if we did want to have an ANSI certified product, we would just want to make sure that the garment and the decoration is fully compatible. But in this case, we're just looking for that extra visibility, and 3M adds that high visibility in the logo as well.
That's great.
Yeah. So of course, this is, I believe, 100% polyester, which is no problem. But we always want to start with the preheat. That's just going to help us to make sure our pressure is accurate, which is all adjustable right here. And the beauty of this machine, not only does it read time and temperature, but it also has a little pressure, a little red pressure indicator. So when a heat transfer application gives you the time, temperature, and pressure that you need to apply at, you can set it for the exact right thing on this machine. And actually, these stripes make lining up really easy with being able to see your logo. I usually like to place a logo a little lower on a vest like this because it is a unisex item. You don't know how many people will be wearing this that may have longer hair. And so you want the logo to be able to show up regardless of whether they're wearing their hair up or down. And so really easy, right? We just lock this down. Much like the 360 IQ that was in our other episodes, this is going to be an automatic release. All right. And once it releases, what we will do is we'll just grab the corner and we will peel away the carrier. And just like that, we've personalized. You can see it even reflecting with the light I have behind here. So really,
what a value add, because I mean, now you've got even more visibility. So
yeah, it's phenomenal. And I don't think we should stop there, Stefan. What do you think about customizing the pocket print location? Because that has some challenges of its own.
More is better. So.
Well, yeah, with visibility, I think it is. Especially with getting your brand seen on both the front and the back of an item. So now there's some special considerations here. It's really no way to be able to avoid these reflective stripes because the reflective stripes are actually inside of the pocket. When it's constructed, they run inside of the pocket. And so the best thing I can do is follow my same method, and I'll thread it on to basically try to isolate at least from this big seam structure here that I have. And I'm going to show you a cool little accessory that we haven't seen in these episodes before. It's called a Print Perfect pad. It's kind of like a glorified mouse pad. And you can buy these Print Perfect pads, and I've actually cut with scissors just along the side in advance of the episode to fit this pocket, right? And so this becomes a size I can use for a lot of different items, but I'm able to take that pad and I'm able to just slide it It's a little bit grippy, so it doesn't slide quite as easy. If I were doing a volume of these, I may wrap this in Teflon and sew it together so it slides in and out easy. But you get the concept. I'm just going to slide that in for this one. Pull that out. And now what I've done is I've raised this whole print area above these stripes. So that's another viable way to get at that print location.
Very cool.
Now, of course, whenever you're doing that, when I go to lock it down, I'm not going to be able to lock it down. It's too much pressure because I've added that thickness and dimension. So I'm going to retract my over the center pressure adjustment knob. And anytime you change the platen, anytime you add a pad or add thickness, you're best to adjust this and lock it down and get it back to that 5 pressure that I was going for, right? That also helps to preheat. And now we're just going to do the more of a logo, the Speedy Food logo.
Nice.
That positions and press. Now, something else to consider here, right, is there are these mesh holes. And so by adding something in between the layers of this pocket, it's going to make sure that it's still a functional pocket and it's not going to stick together.
Very cool.
So that splitting of the layers, what I call threading your design, is absolutely critical. So once you're done, just peel away the carrier, remove the pad, and then we have our completed quality left chest logo.
Wow. So when you look at these are the exact same material, right? From 3M?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So then you can package those together?
Yeah. So there's a couple different ways that you can buy these transfers. One is you can buy them pre-done and get them just like I showed you, where all you have to do is peel the backing off, position, and press. But we have a lot of clients that own what's called a vinyl cutter, and you can actually buy this 3M vinyl for heat transfer by the roll. And so that'll allow you to even cut as little as one logo, maybe even add a personalized name on this to be able to decorate.
Nice. That's it's valuable information.
Yeah. So that's item number one.
Super
and
exciting.
I think that's one of the top sales opportunities I'm seeing, because a lot of people aren't approaching branding on these products, which is a huge potential.
Yeah,
now,
is it that personal touch? If you're shopping there and you see the employee walking around and they're logoed up, it's such a nice touch. So
yeah, makes a huge difference. Now, the next one is actually a set. So do you want to start with the shirt or the pant of the set? What do you think?
Let's start with the shirt. I think that's great. Yeah, this is the set. So what we did is a combo of generational brands. The first is the A377. This is the women's sport t-shirt. So technically a tech tee. And what we have here is we have Adidas. The Adidas logo almost looks reflective. So what people always ask is, how do I actually add reflectivity to this? Because this is an outside used item lots of the times. Of course, it can be used indoor. And so Adidas has been around for 70 years. And then we move into the leggings next, which will be from Champion. They've been around since 1913, so well over 100 years old. This is the everyday legging. And the Champion C logo actually is reflective. So the request there is, can I add to that to make it a complete pants? So to complete the pants, excuse me. So we got a fun little set here. So what do you have on the transfer side?
Yeah. And so, I wanted to build here, right, and show new things in different reflective finishes. And so one of the points that I wanted to illustrate on this set is that reflective doesn't just have to be basic silver. And I think that's cool and that's classic, and that's going to be your number one seller by far. And so most of the looks we'll create today are just reflective silver, but we can actually have reflective beads in the manufacturing of colors and glitter.
Wow.
And so this is, it says Julia's Ballroom Lessons, just showing how reflective can be used for different market verticals. In particular, this one is geared towards dance, but we've incorporated what is a reflective glitter heat transfer. And so, yeah, that's pretty neat. So let's take a look at loading and applying this.
When you think of dancing, it's all about being in sync. So you have the reflectivity, then you can, definitely get some bling going. So
yeah, and there's about a dozen colors of this right now too, and including a rainbow, which has just been on fire for more of like a fashion design in that dance cheer market. And so think outside of your traditional markets for reflective. Let's load this Adidas tee on. Now this is a slimmer cut as well, so I really like this 11 by 15 attachment. It's going to serve me just fine for this slimmer cut garment, and it's a size medium. And so being able to split that and load it on. And with this garment, there's also this seam structure down the side. So ideally, we would get rid of that. Can you see that? You see the seams down the side? Because if we leave that on top of our heater, our platen, what happens is those raised areas, they really take the pressure. And it may not show on this color, but as we get into like black and charcoals and darker shades, you'll start to see these seams potentially gloss up because they're receiving so much pressure in your application. So if you can get the right attachment, the right platen, as we call it, to be able to eliminate those areas, it's really just going to make your life that much easier. Now, again, I took out the Print Perfect pad, so do lots of pressure adjustment. If you're anti-pressure adjustment, you can always buy an Air Model heat press, and that'll automatically adjust the pressure based off whatever thickness you load. But in my case, I didn't want an air compressor in my house here and all that noise, so I just have this manual one, which does the job. So again, this is heat activated adhesive on the back of it in glitter finish on the front. It's a smooth glitter. And so let's position that down into place. All of these transfers come with application telling you time, temperature, and pressure. I have a little cheat sheet here. This one's 300 degrees for 15 seconds at a medium pressure, and it's a warm peel, which basically means give it about 5 or 10 seconds before you peel. I would say,
well, again, it comes with instructions. So once you get your transfer, I mean, it just makes the process, you know, we've talked in previous shows about prep time. So once you have that all down, you can lay out the job, and then you can really attack the speed of how you get on these.
Yeah, and if I were doing, let's just say 50 of these, right? If it's a warm peel, that means I can also peel it cold. So I can remove this, let them stack, and just keep operating, keep the press moving. And that's our goal for making profit. But if I just wanted to wait the 10 seconds at the press, you can get a nice view of it here and peel away the excess. And then we see that completed result. And not only does it look great here with that glitter effect in our daylight conditions, but you can see how it really returns light back to the source when it's hit with headlights, when somebody's walking outside after their ballroom class, right? Or when it's hit with a camera flash. Now that brand really pops when they're at a competition or event.
Nice.
Okay. And the leggings are a little bit more challenging. If I were to just lay this on here and press it, it would probably work. But my quality is going to be subpar because these seams where the press hit are going to gloss up, right? It would probably stick and stay, but that's going to cause me an issue. And so there's two ways to accommodate sleeves and pant legs. Way number one, and the preferred way, is to have a heat press that has an interchangeable platen that does sleeves and legs. I don't have that platen here in my shop, so I'm going to show you the poor man's way to still accomplish it and get a quality result. And I love this because actually I just pressed about a dozen garments earlier today on long sleeves on a crop top garment. But I'm going to show you the pant leg now. So I'll load that 16 by 20 platen back in. Got to have a little bit of strength to load that in. And then I have what's called a heat printing pillow. Okay, so squishy pillow. This is going to insert directly into the pant leg. And so what I'll do is let's go right pant leg. There's really no rule on left or right pant leg. It's just whatever you want for the style and keeping it consistent. You'll notice my arm's going to act as kind of like a pilot to keep the pillow stiff, to make it quick to insert. And I'm just going to slide it up in there. And now what I've done is I've created a area that can be just laid on the press. In the seam, when you press on a pillow, because it's a squishy, low density surface, it's just going to sink right down into the pillow. So I can get really close to that seam without having any adverse effect on pressure or the quality of the result.
Nice.
So you notice I kind of load that corner to corner. I let the balance of the pant hang off of the table here so it doesn't keep sliding off and make it tough to work with. And let's go ahead and make sure my pressure is good because I added that thickness of the pillow.
Nice.
It's actually pretty good. It's still at a medium here. And let's take the Julia's Ballroom design, position it into place.
Nice.
And let the heat press do the work for us, per usual.
I like it. So like, by adding that pillow and then having the seam sink into the pillow, you can use the seam as an alignment tool.
Yeah, that's a good catch. It really makes, yeah, you probably just picked up I did that naturally without even thinking about it. It's just second nature for me. But yeah, having some seam or some structure of the garment for alignment really speeds things up.
I like it.
Yeah. And, you know, on this one, if I were running production, what I would do is I would just have multiple pillows. So you can clearly stage this and have 4 or 5 pillows inserted into pants while that press is locked down for 15 seconds. I'm sliding the next pillow in. I'm staging everything just to keep moving. And depending on your logo size, you can actually put, in this case, I could fit 1, 2, 3 pillows and press 3 pant legs at once, just by taking a little time there. So this one is an important illustration. So when we are working with different heat transfer medias, one of the things you can have is they respond slightly different to different fabric constructions. So almost always, if it's on a fabric that's 100% traditional poly and it's called out as a warm peel, you're going to get off with the hotter side of warm. But when you start to enter any natural fabrics into the construction of the garment or different types of weaves, this has like a soft touch to it. Now all of a sudden you need to let it cool a little bit before you peel it. And again, it's just starting to peel your first one if you're pressing this garment for the first time. And if it starts to lift at all, just stop. You can repress it.
Yeah.
Yep, same thing. And it's just that the first garment's the only one you're going to have to do that on, and then you're rolling once you know what to expect.
I like it. It's a great point.
So this one was a little bit cooler, so I just held it against my countertop to cool it down. Feel it, and let me see if we can really sharp.
That is great.
Yeah.
And then together, you're having this glitter reflective set, or they can be sold separately too.
Yeah, and that's a critical point, right? Because a lot of us right now, and for a long time, have been selling through web stores. So now, yeah, I can buy a t-shirt, yeah, I can buy a pant, but maybe I can offer a package to up my profit and my average sale to every customer. So think about those things when you are putting together your assortment for any of your clients.
I like it.
All right, we're moving. So far we've conquered the ability to decorate with reflective on the Kishigo vest, being able to do the pocket location, the mesh, not damage the reflective striping and have a really popping result. And then we've talked about how to create different finishes in reflective and different colors in reflective to match a client's brand. In this case, we did the reflective glitter onto the legging and performance tee set. And now we're going to move even further and we're going to challenge ourselves on items. So let's talk about this piece.
So now we're heading into the world of accessories with an Oakley backpack. This is the 23-liter utility backpack. This is very unique. You know, Oakley, their core competency is eyewear. And eyewear, as we all know, is a personal choice. A backpack is no different. So when you look at our Oakley line, we have such diverse styles in there. And this one really kind of screams rugged essentials. You know, it has Cordura nylon. But what's unique on this one is just around the zipper is a reflective unit. So you can be seen, because so many people want to be seen as, like you had mentioned earlier, anytime you're coming out of a store or an event, you want to be seen by any kind of traffic you may encounter. So by adding your logo in reflective would just complete this. like perfect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And so I love this category of bags in general and backpacks especially. It seems like backpack is the preferred briefcase for pretty much any trade, right? There's just so much function to it. And so when I think about backpack, I think about high profit potential. And so adding reflective and staying with the general theme of the backpack and the construction of it, even better. So this one will be tough to see because it's more of a frosted carrier. Through the carrier, it probably doesn't look like much to you, maybe from that side.
Well, from that side, we can see it. Yeah, perfect.
Yep. So you have the reflective heat transfer. Now this one's different than the 3M. The 3M's a little bit on the higher side on a price. This is more of an economy reflective. And so you're able to save a little bit on your cost per impression. Again, if you just need the reflective finish and look and not necessarily any certifications with it, because this one will not meet those certifications. Perfect. But more exciting than that, right? Probably for everybody watching is how in the heck am I going to load that backpack onto this press? And it's actually going to utilize two of our tools that we've already used. So let's start. It certainly won't fit over this platen. Let's start by swapping off the platen. Make sure I got it completely open and lifting straight up from corner to corner. That makes it easy on you. Then the 11 by 15, I did try earlier, but for the sake of time, I'll just tell you it doesn't work extremely well. I could probably make it work, but the best choice in this case is a 6 by 10 inch attachment. Wow. All right, there are probably 20 different attachments that you can add to this press. I'd suggest starting with, if you're buying your first press, start with the 6 by 10 and the 11 by 15. I use that for 95% of what I do. And now, of course, look at all these buckles and zippers and like, it's really cool, right? The consumer likes that, but it's not really cool when you're trying to heat press and get to a flat pressure. One thing you'll notice here is when I try to just get the pocket on, there's like no way to get the pocket on because the footprint of this press is just a little bit too big to be able to split and thread this small pocket. And so what we'll do is we'll use a combo effect here. I'm going to undo the big pocket so I can at least get rid of some of the back bulk of the bag. And I'm just going to split that and thread it on. So calculate a little more loading time. There's a little bit more loading time in this, but again, high profit here. And now I'm able to get down to this one surface, but I still have this big chunky zipper, this nice, looks like silicone Oakley logo on here as well. And still a little bit of bulk and similar to the mesh. If I press it just like this, I'll probably be okay. But the inner liner of this pocket is probably going to stick together and then it won't be functional, right? And so there's a better way, and you may already know the answer, but it's that Print Perfect pad. And so what we're going to do now is we'll use the 6 by 10 and we'll slide the Print Perfect pad inside. And I'm feeling here. And what I'm feeling for is this zipper on the inside, the lower pocket. I want it just to fall off of the edge of the pad, right? And that just makes sure it's going to fall off of the edge. And I have a completely raised up area that is ready to print. I also particularly like this because I can still see the Oakley logo. And that's it's tone on tone, so it's tough for you to see, but there's a logo there that's going to help me make sure my graphic is centered as well.
Great.
Going to cover it up, lots of things to melt here. So as I'm practicing and getting my pressure right, just going to cover it up. Kind of a pro tip, anytime you're switching to a smaller platen or base, you really need less pressure coming from the machine because all that pressure is condensing down onto that smaller area versus the full 16 by 20 platen. So if you're pressing stuff like this and you're like fighting to lock it down and you're getting press marks, odds are you have way, way too much pressure. So be careful with that. All right, so we're going to position this down. There's so many locations you can print on the backpack if you have the right tools for the job. I like this particular location because I don't see it a lot because it's tough to do. And then we lock it down. Toughest part is loading it.
But, I think we're going to see the end result here in just seconds, but it's worth it. Like you had said, this is a high profit, high margin item. And if you can visualize it, you're bringing it to reality for the customer. And it's a win-win.
Yeah. Now, Reflective 2 says it's a hot peel. I've done enough backpacks to know that that's kind of sketchy on these different fabrics. And so, yeah, most people use the reflective and they decorate performance tees and t-shirts and you're fine. But on some of these fabrics, I really like to be a little more careful with it and peel it on the side of colder. You can almost always go colder. And so I'll let this cool down a bit. Let me just take a peek here. I'm going to just try to barely get the corner and take a peek here. Yeah, and I don't have good adhesion there. So I want to let it cool completely down before I peel it. Actually, I may have, I may have ruined the top corner on it. And so we'll just press it again if I start to see that lift after it cools down. But I would definitely want to finish this with the press. So be patient on your tough, rugged backpack fabrics and peel those cold if you can. I've even done, so I complete about 150 backpacks for a dance school with a pink reflective before. And I put the dance school logo here. And then of course we don't want every kid in the school to have the same backpack, whose is whose. And so we added their name up in, the top print location. So find some areas to add some profit to the items that you're making.
That's great.
All right. I think we're cool here. So let me just grab the corner. Yeah, we are going to require a second hit, but let me show you. So we'll just grab the corner and peel. And just be careful as you're peeling it, because I don't want to completely tear the reflective since I started peeling it a little bit too fast. And what I'll have here is a result that looks like it's on there, but I kind of have these pieces where I started peeling lifting a little bit. So no harm, as we know from prior episodes. I just toss it back on there. I was able to maintain everything quality, slide that back in, and I'll be a little bit more patient if I'm running this job. But for now, we'll just slide it in, cover it up, and give it another full application without issue as we talk about our next look.
I love it. No, but again, it goes back to, the way you prep and then about it. Because to my eye, that looked fantastic, right? But you're seeing it firsthand and you want to finish it to perfection. Then you can go back and quickly fix it. Now it's fixed.
And I like sometimes the second hit on textured fabrics like this, because then you actually get a little bit of the fabric grain into the transfer itself. And it looks like it's part of the bag. Like you can't even tell that it was a heat transfer that's on there. It just blends in so nicely.
See, and now, if that's an electrical contractor company, for instance, that contractor is walking in fully representative. The customer sees reflective and they're like thinking it's safe already, right?
Yeah, perception.
I love this stuff. And so anyways, I won't take too much of the time. So last but not least, we have, we're going to do another champion product. So this is the CW26, and this is Champion's performance line. And so it is, carries UPF 50 plus, moisture wicking, has Champion on the back yoke, fully spelled out. And then it has the C logo again on the sleeve that is reflective. And so to match something like this is going to be real interesting to see. So.
Yeah, and so we'll have to swap back with our logo that we're going to do. Let me just swap out this platen, and we're going to go back to, I think this is a adult size. Let me see. Yeah, this is an adult medium, and so that'll be fine on my 16 by 20 inch base. Lock it in. Let's go ahead and load my shirt. I'm going to talk to you about a new, really exciting reflective product, especially for you shops that may be looking to do volume pieces in reflective, or even, small branding icons, because maybe you want to add your own brand, on the other sleeve next to the Champion. That's possible. Let's make sure my pressure is where it needs to be first. All right. And this reflective product, I just love. Wow. So you're seeing that? It's a water-based reflective transfer. And so what you're seeing on this side of the transfer, which is the adhesive side, you see everything's in a mirror image here, is actually the water-based screen printing ink along with the heat-activated adhesive. But here you can see, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably about 5 to 8 logos spaced across a complete sheet of reflective material. And so what's beautiful about this is, look, as I mentioned earlier, the reflective silver is going to be the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3 seller. And so if you can establish enough volume in that color and that reflective finish, now every week I can group up multiple clients' logos, drop them onto one sheet, and really utilize the real estate and drive my cost down. Now that may be confusing for some of you, but let me just say, all of the other products that we've produced so far, those have been from a heat transfer vinyl, where we're cutting on a vinyl cutter and producing them like one by one. It effectively costs almost the same much to do one as it does to do 1,000. But where you get the benefit of screen printing is we're burning the screen, right? This big screen, and we're screen printing the whole panel. And so that fixed cost of the screen only happens once. And then if you order 500 of these or 100 of these, it just drives the cost down with quantity. And so I love this. It's a reflective screen print transfer. It's from our STAHLS Transfer Express division. They do the screen printing side of it. And all we do is we get it in, and let's pick a logo that we want to put on it. And I'm just going to trim it apart.
Great.
You know, you can deck out this shirt in all types of print locations. We're just going to do a pretty standard front placement here. One thing I do like to do is trim the logo a little closer to the ink, because you can't see through this when you flip it over. And so by having, you know, the logo just trimmed a little closer, you'll know that the rectangle that you're placing on the garment is a pretty good representation of where the logo actually resides. All right, so let's preheat. And we're going to position this down front center. And I cannot remember if I need a cover sheet. I didn't note one here. I noted 305 to 315, 15 seconds, medium to firm pressure, and this one's definitely a cold peel. So let's go ahead and lock it down at that firm pressure. I'm all the way up on a 9 pressure on my machine. And we'll let this one, I'll kind of break it before it auto opens so it doesn't start to lift the transfer with that vacuum effect.
I like it.
So just kind of break the seal and then let it go. And then I like to, you know, just kind of fold it up. Let's get it off the press to cool down completely before we peel the backing.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And I love the, you know, the cost factors that you've been talking about is like group everything together and, you know, addressing the fact that, you know, reflective silver is the #1 choice of people that think about. But we've also covered, why not throw glitter and some color in there? No one would have thought that that's possible. I didn't. And
Yeah.
so I appreciate you always mentioning, you know, where you can save and make more profit. So it's great.
Yeah, that's what most of us are in business for, right? Is to drive profit. So really understanding the product and thinking strategic about the markets that you want to go out and capture in reflective transfers and building a program around it. That's what's going to make you the most successful. If you just kind of, hey, here's reflective, and throw it in your samples with the 40 other products, you probably won't be very successful at it. But if you really strategically plan about reflective and the markets it reaches and the garments that you can accommodate as a finish, you can create something pretty powerful, I believe.
Nice.
I guess it's similar on the colors when you think of the Kishigo vest that we did first. The fact that it's not just the safety yellow anymore, right? Or the safety green. You're
Absolutely
getting into different colors.
Yeah, and then that was the consumer asking for something like that. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, when folks are watching this episode, you know, the pink one really speaks through. Probably be perfect timing for promotions for breast cancer awareness and raising money for causes. So think about the products like that as well as the finishes. Yeah. All right, so I'm peeling it, and this one's really cool. So you actually can see that the reflective pulls right out of the transfer sheet and stays behind on the garment. It's phenomenal. It's almost tough to see, like that reflective just pulled out where that ink was and that adhesive was from the print. And now we have a fully decorated garment where we didn't have to cut or weed anything. And man, it's a water-based transfer, Steph, and this thing feels so soft on there.
That
It's
is
unbelievable.
great. Stretches with the fabric and everything, so it's fully.
Yeah, water-based, you get the stretch and recovery with it as well. Yeah, so it's a really high-end product. And I had probably lost the sample. I've moved so many things around here, but I really like this. You know, you have the champion icon, as I mentioned, on the sleeve, but there's a lot of folks out there that are trying to build a brand, right? These little details are everything. When you get these garments, you recognize the champion brand. If you're trying to build your own brand, you know, pop, even if it's a standard white print or a red print, pop just your brand logo down on, you know, the sleeve or somewhere like that and reflective. It just elevates the piece so much, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Well, this has been fantastic once again. I mean, I've learned a ton. I'm glad you brought the new machine. So super compatible. Josh, thank you so much. This is it's a lot of fun. And
good. Not only today did we conquer reflective finishes, but hopefully we showed you some new SKUs, some new ways to order, some new ways to think about the business. That's what this series is all about. So appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Have a great day, everybody.
All right. Thanks for watching.
Hey, thanks for joining us on this episode of Decoration Myths. For more information on any of the products that you've seen today, check out the links in the description below. And if you enjoyed any part of the video, give us a like as well. See you next time.